You know what finally pushed me over the edge? I spent 3 weeks building a blanket chest out of white oak, dovetailed corners, hand-cut everything, and it came out beautiful. Then I grabbed a can of gel stain off the shelf because I wanted that deep, rich, aged look you see on antique Chinese furniture. And what I got was a piece that looked like it was wearing a Halloween mask, just this flat, plastic-looking coat sitting right on top of the wood. You could almost peel it off with your fingernail. I was so frustrated I nearly stripped the whole thing and left it bare. But around that same time, I stumbled across a method that traditional Chinese woodworkers and furniture restorers have been using for centuries to age wood naturally. Not fake it. Actually age it, chemically, all the way down into the fibers. And what amazed me was how simple the ingredients were. Tea, vinegar, steel wool, ammonia. Things you probably already have in your house right now. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly how these old techniques work, why the chemistry behind them beats anything you will find in a can at the hardware store, and how you can take a fresh board and make it look like it has been sitting in a Ming Dynasty workshop for 500 years. Plus, stick around to the end, because I have a finishing trick I picked up that adds about 200 years of wear in 15 minutes. Let me show you where all of this comes from. Chinese woodworking has one of the longest unbroken traditions in the world. We are talking about craftsmen who were building furniture with sophisticated joinery and refined finishing techniques well over 2,000 years ago. And the way they thought about the surface of wood was fundamentally different from how most of us approach it today. In the West, we tend to think of finishing as something you do to wood. You put a product on it, a stain, a varnish, a coat of something. The Chinese approach, especially in the tradition of classical hardwood furniture making that peaked during the Ming and Qing dynasties, was more about drawing something out of the wood. They understood that wood is not an inert material. It is full of natural chemistry, tannins, oils, sugars, compounds that react with the world around them. And they learned to use that chemistry deliberately. When you look at a genuine antique Chinese elm cabinet or a paulownia wood chest that has survived 4 or 5 centuries, that deep, complex color you see is not from a stain. It is the result of slow chemical reactions between the wood's own tannins and the environment, the air, the smoke, the moisture, the oils from human hands over generations. What these craftsmen figured out, and what restorers have preserved as practical knowledge, is how to accelerate those same natural reactions. They could take a fresh board and, using simple household substances, trigger the exact chemical processes that would otherwise take centuries, and the result does not just look old, it looks right. It has depth and variation and transparency that no surface coating can match, because the color is not sitting on top of the wood, it is inside the wood. That distinction is the whole key to everything I am about to show you. The first method is the foundation for almost everything else, and it is so simple it seems like it cannot possibly work. You brew a strong pot of black tea, and you brush it onto raw wood. That is it. That is the first step. Now, I know how that sounds. The first time someone told me to paint tea on a board, I thought they were pulling my leg. But here is the chemistry. Black tea is extremely rich in tannic acid. When you brush it onto wood, you are essentially saturating the surface fibers with additional tannins. And tannins are the reactive agents that make everything else in this process work. Some wood species are naturally high in tannins already. White oak is a great example, so is walnut and cherry. But other species like maple or poplar or pine are relatively low in tannins. And that means when you try to age them with chemical reactions, the results are weak and blotchy. The tea wash solves that problem completely. You are leveling the playing field, giving every board a rich tannin base to react with. I use about 6 bags of plain black tea, nothing fancy, just the cheapest grocery store brand, steeped in 2 cups of boiling water for at least 30 minutes. You want it dark, almost like coffee. Then you brush it on with a foam brush, let it dry completely and brush on a second coat. By itself, the tea will darken the wood slightly, maybe 1 shade. But what you have really done is loaded that surface with reactive chemistry. And that is where the next method comes in. By the way, if you are enjoying learning about these ancient methods, I put together something I think you will really appreciate. It is called Kenji's Workshop, and it is a collection of 100 Ancient Eastern Woodworking Secrets for the Modern Craftsman, techniques like the ones we are covering today, and a whole lot more. You can grab your copy by scanning the QR code on screen, or just use the first link in the description. All right, let us keep going. The second method is the one that really made me a believer, and it is the technique that traditional Chinese craftsmen relied on most heavily. Ammonia fuming. Now, this is not the household ammonia you buy at the store diluted to 5 or 10%. For proper fuming, you want industrial strength ammonia, 26% concentration or higher, sometimes sold as blueprint ammonia or aqua ammonia. And you do not brush it on. You expose the wood to the fumes in an enclosed space. Here is how it works. You build a simple sealed chamber, and it does not have to be fancy. I have used a heavy-duty garbage bag over a sawhorse for small pieces and a plastic sheeting tent for larger ones. You place an open dish of the ammonia inside the chamber with the wood, seal it up, and walk away. The ammonia vapor reacts with the tannins in the wood and produces a deep, rich brown color that penetrates well below the surface. On a tannin-rich wood, like white oak that has been tea-washed first, you can get a color after 24 hours that looks like 3 centuries of natural aging. And here is what makes it so different from stain. If you were to take a plane and shave off a 1/16 of an inch from a stained board, you would see raw wood underneath. If you do the same thing to a fumed board, the color is still there. It has gone down into the fibers. That is real aging, not a costume. Now, I need to be very clear about safety here. Ammonia fumes at this concentration are serious. You must work outdoors or in a very well-ventilated space. Wear a proper respirator, rated for ammonia, not just a dust mask. Wear eye protection, and never lean over an open container. The Chinese craftsmen who developed this technique worked in open-air courtyards for a reason. Respect the material, and it will give you stunning results. The third method uses something even simpler, and the results are just as impressive in a different way. This is the iron acetate reaction, and all you need is white vinegar and steel wool. Take a pad of plain steel wool, the fine grade, 000 or 000, drop it into a mason jar of white distilled vinegar, and let it dissolve for anywhere from 3 days to a full week. What you are making is a solution of iron acetate. When you brush that solution onto wood that is rich in tannins, either naturally or from that tea wash we talked about, the iron reacts with the tannic acid and produces a dark gray to deep ebony color, depending on how many coats you apply and how much tannin is present. On white oak with 2 coats of strong tea underneath, a single application of iron acetate will turn the wood a gorgeous silvery gray that looks exactly like wood that has been weathering outdoors for 100 years. 2 or 3 coats will push it toward a true ebony black, and just like the ammonia fuming, this color is not sitting on the surface. It is a chemical change within the wood fibers themselves. The iron bonds with the tannin molecules and creates an entirely new compound that is embedded in the cell structure. I use this technique constantly now. It is cheap, it is safe compared to ammonia fuming, and the control you have is remarkable. You can go light and silvery with one thin coat, or deep and dark by building up layers. Every piece comes out slightly different because every board has slightly different tannin distribution, and that natural variation is exactly what makes old wood look old. The fourth method is where you start getting into truly artistic territory, and it is something I only learned about after reading accounts of Qing Dynasty furniture restoration. Once you have your base aging done through fuming or iron acetate, you can layer natural dyes to add warmth, undertones, and the kind of color complexity that makes people stop and stare. The 2 most common traditional dyes are walnut hull extract and iron-steeped tea combinations of different strengths. Walnut hull dye adds a warm, amber-brown undertone that is almost impossible to replicate with synthetic stain. You can buy walnut hull powder online or collect black walnut husks in the fall and boil them down yourself. Brush a thin coat over your fumed or iron-treated surface, and you get this rich, layered depth. The cool gray of the iron acetate underneath, with the warm brown of the walnut on top, creates something that looks alive. It shifts depending on the angle of the light. Another traditional approach is to use different concentrations of the tea wash itself as a layering agent between other treatments. A strong tea coat, then iron acetate, then a lighter tea coat, then a diluted walnut wash. Each layer interacts with the ones below it and adds another dimension. Chinese restorers would sometimes apply 8 or 10 micro-thin layers like this over the course of several days, building up a surface that had the kind of depth you normally only see on wood that has absorbed centuries of smoke and handling. Now let me share some patterns I have noticed over the years, things I used to do myself, that this tradition handles completely differently. No judgment here. I did all of these for longer than I would like to admit. The first pattern is reaching for commercial stain as the default aging method. Most of us do it because it is convenient and predictable. But gel stains and even penetrating oil stains are designed to deposit pigment particles on the wood surface or just barely below it. They cannot replicate what a chemical reaction does inside the fiber. Once I understood that distinction, I stopped buying stain almost entirely for aging effects. The second pattern is skipping surface preparation for aging. Most of us sand to 20 grit, and call it ready. But the Chinese approach almost always involves texturing the surface first, using wire brushes, chains, or even controlled wetting and drying cycles to open up the grain and create micro-texture before any chemical treatment. That texture gives the aging compounds more surface area to react with and creates the natural unevenness that reads as genuine age. I started wire brushing my oak with a brass brush before tea washing, and the difference was night and day. The third pattern is expecting uniformity. We have been trained by modern finishes to want even, consistent color across every surface. But real aged wood is never uniform. It is darker in crevices, lighter on edges, varied across the grain. The Chinese methods naturally produce that variation because the chemical reactions follow the tannin distribution in the wood, which is never perfectly even. Learning to trust that variation instead of fighting it was a big shift for me. The fourth pattern is rushing the process. Even though these techniques can compress centuries of aging into a day, they still reward patience. Letting each layer dry completely, giving the ammonia fumes a full 24 hours, allowing the iron acetate to develop over a week instead of 3 days. Every time I have rushed, the results were noticeably weaker. Now, for that bonus tip I promised at the beginning. This is a technique I picked up from reading about furniture restorers working on pieces in the Jiangnan region, and it adds an incredible final layer of age to any surface you have already treated. After all your chemical aging is complete and dry, you mix a very thin wash of slaked lime, about 1 tablespoon of hydrated lime powder in 1 cup of water. Brush it onto the surface and immediately wipe most of it off with a clean rag, working it into any grain texture, crevices, or distress marks. What this does is leave a faint white mineral residue in the low spots, exactly the way centuries of dust and lime from plaster walls accumulate in the recesses of old furniture. On a wire-brushed and fumed piece of white oak, this single step transformed the surface from something that looked old to something that looked ancient. The contrast between the dark fumed grain and the pale lime residue in the valleys is remarkably convincing. Just make sure you seal it afterward with a thin coat of paste wax or a matte oil finish so the lime stays put. Before we wrap up, If today's video taught you something new, imagine having 100 techniques like this at your fingertips. That is exactly what Kenji's workshop is. It is my collection of ancient Eastern woodworking secrets for the modern craftsman, all in one place, with detailed photos and clear instructions. You can get your copy by scanning the QR code on screen or using the link in the description. Thanks for being here. I will see you next time.